Good morning, everyone, and welcome to IPST and Talks. My name is Alicia Green, the CEO and host of this series. Welcome, and I hope everyone has their cup of tea so that you can enjoy this wonderful conversation we're going to be having this morning. And just to give you a little history, IPS, we're a consulting company that provides a wide array of solutions with a team of experts as we position ourselves as your outsourcing partner for strategy development, digital solutions, business advisory, and admin support via our business concierge services. RTN Talks is an online platform used to engage in discussions surrounding hot topics as it relates to business, corporates, governments, and the financial services industry. So feel free to look us up on our website at ipsbvi.com. And I'd like to ask you to follow us on LinkedIn at Integral Professional Services BVI Limited. So with me today is Mrs. Rosita Scatliffe-Thompson to educate us a bit more on the crypto space. We know that quite a few persons still have some questions, concerns, and really want to know more so that they can get started. As you know, digital currency is taking over as economies are seeking strategies to move to a cashless society, incorporating digital currency for investments, be it short term or long term. They're seeking innovative solutions to create wealth, ease transaction processing, and provide some security in the exchange of information. So Rosita is here to set the foundation and hopefully lead us to some solutions to get started. So I'd like to invite Rosita now to tell us a little bit more about herself and her company that she's representing today, SkyRoMa Consultants.
Good morning, everyone. I am Rosita Scatliffe-Thompson. I have a background in education as an educator in both the BVI and MCA for a period of about 12 years. In 2011, I came across Bitcoin, and I started following it cleanly, and I have a self-created portfolio of cryptocurrencies. Back then, it was extremely difficult to learn and share information, but maybe I was a geek back then, so I had all the different platforms to communicate with persons on. I moved home, returned home in 2019, and I thought that there was a great need to have cryptocurrency and blockchain technology known in the BVI in terms of helping us expand our world stage presence. In 2019, I started and had the official goal to create a consultancy company where I teach about cryptocurrency and blockchain technology to anyone who's willing to learn. Today, what I'll do is take you through a brief and quick overview of some of the things that I have learned over the years in cryptocurrency and blockchain technology.
Excellent. Thank you, Rosita. So our topic today is cryptocurrency, and at the end, you will decide if it is in fact a worthy investment. And so I would like to have Rosita go ahead and engage in your presentation.
This is not financial advice. I'm just going to tell you a bit of what I know, what I see coming, and what is already happening. Never invest more than you're willing to lose, and be sure to do your own necessary research so that you will have the education and tools to make your own informed decisions, of course. So Bitcoin, a quick history. On October 31st, 2008, Satoshi Nakamoto filed a paper called the Bitcoin paper. It was supposed to be a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. It's believed that the name Satoshi is a pseudo-anonymous name of one or more than one creators, actually. Now, some might say to you, why was Bitcoin created? The whole purpose of Bitcoin was to reduce the need for financial institutions As you would know, financial institutions is always a third party, a trusted party to process our electronic payments. He thought that there was no reason why we could not do cashless payments, and these payments and transactions could be done peer-to-peer, leaving out the middleman. You may ask, how many Bitcoin will there ever be, and how much time do I have to get it? Well, there will only be 21 million Bitcoin. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it? Sounds like it's enough for everyone. But actually, when you look at the population in the world of millionaires, there's 56 million millionaires. So that being, doing the math, there will never ever be enough Bitcoin so that at least every millionaire in this world can have one. And if they were interested in getting one that way. So the question is, in the beginning, a paper titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer transaction. Now, in 2009, the Genesis block was mined on the open source Bitcoin software, and it was the first block on the blockchain. This block contained the first 50 Bitcoins that were ever created. In 2010, there were the first commercial created transaction of 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas. You're probably asking right now, 10,000 Bitcoin in 2009, 2010 for 10 pizzas. How much are we worth today? But based on my research and my calculations, those 2 pizzas would be worth $380 million. Where would those pizzas purchased from? Papa John's. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the company Papa John's. Bitcoin is going to be only in a mass of about 21 million. And it will take a following calculation. The year 2040 is when the last Bitcoin is supposed to be mined. So you might say you probably have time, but we'll see. Now the risk and potential for the Bitcoin market. Bitcoin is indeed volatile, and the price has in the past been corrected to as much as 50%. What I want you to do though, even though that's a really big number, is step back a bit from the daily, the weekly, and the monthly picture and look at the change. You will see that even though there's been a high loss, percentage loss, the sustained growth has always been really good for Bitcoin. Then there's not a lot of assets that perform like Bitcoin over the years, and especially in such a short amount of time. Bitcoin has been volatile, but like I said, it's one of those assets that are not backed by government or some sort of third party institution. Now, looking at the market again here, you're probably thinking, all right, if I wanted to get invested, I had some interest in Bitcoin. And it started in 2011, and now we're in 2022. What did that look like? What would that growth look like? Now you see here, this is how Bitcoin's movement in the market has been. If you had invested $1,000 in 2011 in Amazon, it'll be worth what's on the screen today, over 16,000. That same $1,000 in Apple would be over 15,000. Facebook, be 5,000. Google, over 4,000. Netflix, as we all know, we over 4,000. Bitcoin at $1,000 investment in 2011 will be over $76 million right now. And that's 2011. Now, in 2011, there were very few people that knew about Bitcoin, except for the cyberpunk, the geeks, and the techies. All of that has changed. Today, over 100 million people own Bitcoin. You say, no, how much Bitcoin do I have to own? Or how much longer it will take for I to own it? The price of Bitcoin earlier this morning was about, let me just double check because this changes so quickly. But I'll get back to that on this. Was fairly in the 30, about the 30,000 range. And you're saying, well, how can I own Bitcoin? For someone like a normal person on the street, how do I get own Bitcoin when I don't necessarily have $13,000? Bitcoin is fractionalized. You can buy fraction versions of Bitcoin. And the way you can do that is dollar cost average in, that's DCA in. You probably saying, how can I afford to get Bitcoin at such a high purchasing price? Like I said, it's fractionalized. That means that, let's say hypothetically today, Bitcoin is over $40,000 and you want to acquire some Bitcoin. I personally, right now, in growing my Bitcoin portfolio, I treat it as a bill, like for example, a cell phone bill. Every month you would pay about, let's say, $200 for your cell phone bill. Maybe you might be able to put some money aside, and every month that $200 goes towards the purchase of Bitcoin. That's dollar cost averaging. Now, not necessarily you might have that much money, but I'm just saying, just little by little, you can buy Bitcoin. It doesn't really matter. You don't necessarily have to have the entire price for a whole coin to be able to earn Bitcoin. This was made so that anyone that has basically $5 in their pocket will be able to own. It wasn't made that only certain groups in the society would be able to purchase Bitcoin if they wanted it. We've had a lot of negative talk of Bitcoin, lots of Bitcoin, lots of negative talk about cryptocurrency. Some of the things that you may hear is that it's used for money laundering, it's a Ponzi scheme, it's computer money, it's not real, it's too complicated to understand. I was wondering if there's anyone out there that's heard some stuff or have anything to share about what they've heard about Bitcoin as well.
And what I'd like to encourage persons to do, if you do have a question, you can put it in the chat or in the Q&A box, and I will be happy to get that addressed by the speaker. So feel free to put your question.
We're talking about money laundering still with Bitcoin. There's been an estimated about 8.6 billion money laundering in cryptocurrency in 2021. Now, in 2020, there has been a 30% increase in that money laundering. So yes, people find ways to do stuff, and it has been involved with the money laundering space. But this has been from since 2017. It hasn't been from the onset of Bitcoin's creation. It does sound like a big number, but I want to say to you that there's been over 2 trillion in fiat currency that has been laundered in drug trafficking offenses. When you look at both of them, don't you think that the fiat currency number is a bit bigger than the cryptocurrency number? Now, in terms of fiat, it's been far easier to launder money with cash than it has with cryptocurrency. The main reason being is that everything exists on the blockchain. So let's say you do a quote unquote a rug pull, it's there on the blockchain. It's recorded on the blockchain. You do a rug pull, it's recorded on the blockchain, and you may necessarily have to park it somewhere, because once those funds move from A to B again, it's going to be traced. This is my argument for why Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is perhaps not the best use to launder money. However, as we know, cash has no trace, and once it leaves your hand, it's not an imprint that you can make with cash to say, okay, so that's from Alicia's hand to Mark's hand to Scott's hand. There's no traceability with it. You know, it just goes, and there's no really trace. You have to actually catch the person with it. Now, in terms of compliance, what about FATF? Now, they are regulatory bodies that have been known to be quite weariful of cryptocurrency and have spread a lot of perhaps misinformation on what it's being used for. Now, I would say this. I can understand the worry with cryptocurrency, mainly because it takes away the use of the middleman. We won't necessarily need financial institutions, mainly banks. And for the obvious reasons is that if there's going to be peer-to-peer transactions, all that can be done via your phone. And we know there's been an estimate, I'm sure the number is much larger, there was 17 billion persons that have access to a mobile phone. So do you understand what that means? There are more persons in the world that have access to mobile phones than there are that have bank accounts. If we need to do business, we don't necessarily need financial institution. I'm just, going down the Bitcoin hole, the cryptocurrency. We don't necessarily need to have financial institutions because the creation of QR codes and digital wallets and cryptocurrency, we can do transactions with a phone and in seconds. It doesn't take them all the time. Like if you came to the BVI right now, you'll be shocked at the lines that are outside the banks with persons trying to get in to just perhaps take either buck out of the ATM machines or do some sort of simple transactions with the teller. Now, cryptocurrency replaces all of that. Everything can be done with your digital wallet, your private keys, public keys, switch, okay, confirmations, and boom. As soon as you can receive and send a text message or WhatsApp message, you will have access to your funds in your pocket or on your digital wallet. Now, fiat, let's look at fiat. Fiat can be traceable. The purchasing power has decreased significantly. There's central governments of Federal Reserves that exist in the middle of it. And it's not necessarily backed by anything. I'm going to explain that as well. I think it was 1974 or 1976. We had the SDR standards, and I'm saying we because we use US currency in the BVI. It was backed by gold. That was removed. So the fiat currency then became a promissory note. There was nothing there. You're probably saying, well, Bitcoin is virtual money, there's nothing there as well. I could say perhaps you're right, there's nothing there. However, it's the movement of the community and the belief that it's going to free us from financial systems that most persons who are into cryptocurrency believe in. And of course, the biggest thing is that we no longer see the need for financial institutions, banks, governments, and Federal Reserve taking such a major role in our money. When our money goes into these institutions or these parties have a play with our finances, it no longer feels like your own. It no longer feels that you have the independence and control over your own finances. One of the major things that Bitcoin was advocating for is to basically take that lack of control, to have control of your finances, to not be controlled by other outside entities, but basically make decisions.
But, sorry, but in order to do that, Rosita, we need to be well informed, yes?
Yes,
right.
Definitely. We need to be well informed. And I'm going to say this. Now, when you speak about, there's not a lot of talk about cryptocurrency and blockchain technology in the BVI. I've dealt with a lot of clients, and there are a lot of myths that they come with, and they ask me to clarify. And what I do, I take into a process, because what I believe in is giving for the tools that they need to make these informed decisions for themselves. I'm going to give you an example. Like when I deal with some of my clients, half of them don't even know that there's a white paper. This is me giving out information right now. Half of my clients are not aware that there's such thing called a white paper that you should perhaps read. I told lots of them, spend some time and get the Bitcoin white paper and read it, and then see if you can understand what's going on, see if you can understand the movement behind it, and if it makes sense, and if you agree with it. And not only that, but if you can see how the technology is going to take your everyday world and basically transform it. Now you're probably wondering, what do I mean by take the everyday world and transform it? Now, Bitcoin is usually labeled as fintech, financial technology. When people come and speak about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, it's usually from that financial aspect. There's also the blockchain aspect of it. I like to run comparison and help people understand how important blockchain is, um, how it plays a part in your world, how you're using it right now, and perhaps you're not even aware of it. You know, blockchain is basically the zero and ones of data and how data goes back and forth, how it's recorded, how it's verified, um, things like that. So we look at our bank cards, we look at our health information, we look at education, we look at what else? Health, we look at insurance, we look at real estate. What else? Yeah, right now you need to look at music and all these NFTs. I mean, all those things are being stored on blockchain because there's a verification process. There's no more paper. We're not dealing with paper. Yes, everything is digital and in the cloud, but all of that has the foundation of blockchain. This morning, very, very late, like more like last night, I was going through online and I was like, I know they're going to get a bunch of regulators coming in, perhaps. And speaking about the wonderful SEC and the wonderful FATF, this link right here, it was taken from Crypto Potato, and they were pointing out that cryptocurrency is less useful for money laundering than cash. And this is I really wish I could bring it up and actually read it to you, but it was a bit long. But if you get the chance, copy this link right there. Take a picture with your phone and just plug it into the internet page and read that article and see what they tell you about the use and the consistent use of cash for money laundering over cryptocurrency. Now, to be fair, in 2021, law enforcement did recover about 4.5 billion of stolen cryptocurrency that the thieves had been unable to launder due to visibility of those funds on the blockchain, just like I said. Subsequently, you might say, okay, this is all great. You can trace it, and they weren't able to move it, or even though they moved it, we were able to recover it. But what happens if the internet goes down? It doesn't work. Our financial system get ruined. What I'm saying on this is that if the internet goes down, I think we have much more serious things to worry about besides cryptocurrency. So think about that for a minute. Now, other persons might say, and I've heard this, so these are things I've heard from my clients, but it's not backed by government, and some may prefer. But it does encourage free market, or it's trying to encourage free market. It's trying to encourage independence and taking your life into your own hands. And most importantly, have you have you really considered for those who have things in order and may not come upon this problem of not being able to have a bank account? Bitcoin solves that, cryptocurrency solves that. It helps bridge this gap because it said you don't necessarily, if it's used, if technology is used the way it's meant to be used, you don't need a third party financial institution. It's peer to peer. All you need is a phone. And some persons don't have bank accounts, but we definitely have a mobile phone. All we need is a mobile phone for us to do transactions from A to B from one person to another. And also from business to business. It's not only person to person. No, I don't have a point of sale machine for the bank because I receive cryptocurrency. Um, and I do that in terms of my payments because if I think about technology and cryptocurrency, you actually have to use the technology every day for people to become familiar with it and for people to get used and comfortable to it. So I do take cryptocurrency. I haven't had clients as yet who've been comfortable enough to accept cryptocurrency, paying me cryptocurrency because most of my clients are new starters, new beginners, and they were paying me through the conventional way, fiat currency. But The only way these things, crypto, blockchain, is going to take over the mass society is with everyday constant use. I do encourage people to use the technology as much as possible. I do encourage persons as many seminars you can go to and many conversations you can have, as much time as you can spend by yourself or with friends and family, researching, find out as much as you possibly can about cryptocurrency. And then when you find information, you even need someone to actually break it down because it could be a bit technical. Luckily, because I've been doing this since 2011, and what's on the market right now, even though some new things have come out and it could be a bit daunting, I would say this, it's not that challenging. You do need to know something as a groundwork in order to build on it and go forward. But once you have that groundwork established and you understand, it's not that difficult to go forward and then have the other stuff built on top of it. So my urge to everyone is learn Bitcoin, learn about cryptocurrency, learn about blockchain technology, and most importantly, seek that knowledge and education from persons who are capable of breaking it down. I find that's always been the hard part. When you're using these technical words, which may seem technical to a new person, like, hash and HODL, all those crypto talk and mining, computation, and I mean computation in the sense of what actually goes on in the background. It becomes a bit scary because they're gonna have the idea of, okay, I know what a wallet is. A wallet is my purse, but when they speak of wallets in cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, they're speaking of something virtual, digital, and I don't quite understand how to translate that. So you have to be able to translate it in the smallest level, the smallest and lowest level for persons to truly understand. And you'll be surprised of how very common I can get in terms of explaining. I mean, if I have to use bells to explain, a bell, or I tend to use seeds a lot to explain stuff going forward, but learn as much as you can. Now, the sort of point is why Bitcoin matters. It's scarce, it's valuable, it's portable, it's deflationary, it's fungible, and it's trustless. You don't need to have a third party involved. Other cryptos. Why do I speak of Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin is the first. You ever heard of first in the market? That's it. There are about 17 plus thousand cryptos, many of which are personally complete rubbish. But some do work alongside Bitcoin to revolutionize everything we do, from financial transactions, like I mentioned before, logistics, healthcare, insurance, privacy, real estate, music. The list is absolutely endless. Now, strategies for getting involved. Many of you may be interested in investing, but I do urge you to seek knowledge so you may understand how to apply your enthusiasm. Once you've sought the knowledge and you do feel comfortable with all the aspects that plays a major part in investing in cryptocurrency, you go ahead and you make your leap. But understand, unlike having a bank in control of finances, unlike having your parents in control of your finances, unlike having the government in control of your finances, you need to understand that you are going to be in complete control. The way Bitcoin is supposed to work is that you're supposed to be in complete control. That being said, if it's not your private keys, it's not your Bitcoin. If someone else controls your private keys, it's not your Bitcoin. If someone else has your private keys and gives you funds, you don't actually have Bitcoin. You only have Bitcoin when you have your private keys in your control and no one else knows about your private keys. So I'm just saying to you, it could be a bit daunting, it could be a bit scary at first, but it's known to be the largest transfer of wealth in history. And even though in the beginning we had persons like Morgan Stanley and Warren Buffett and a lot of other major players speak quite negatively of Bitcoin, in the background they were actually buying up for the clients. So even though you watch the news and you're like, I hear all these bad things about Bitcoin, don't just watch the CNN and the Fox News. The persons that speak, that come out as advisors or analysts, follow them keenly. This is where you have to do your research. Follow them keenly. Look at the companies that they own. Look at the things that they're doing. Look at what they're actually telling their clients to do. When you research them, you will see that they're out in the face telling you that this is bad, it's being known to do this, that, all negative. But in the backdrop, they're buying up for their clients. Unfortunately, most of these clients are the 1%, but with the number of persons and Bitcoin that is on the market right now, there's only about 1.3% of the world's population that actually have Bitcoin. There is still time to purchase it, but like everything with a lot of supply and demand, the longer you wait, not advising you, but I'm just happy to understand how this works. The longer you wait, the more money that comes in from the whales, the higher the price goes. The higher the price goes, the less your fiat currency is going to be able to purchase. So I
So
hope that helps.
I hear that. Well, Rosita, we are out of time this morning, and I'm hopeful that everyone got a better understanding of cryptocurrency and they're now ready to get started in some way. As we can see, it is a worthy investment, and I believe it's the way of the future when it comes to creating smart cities. And so we can't get away from compliance, of course. So as an entity, as an individual, let's follow the rules and practice good governance on all sides. And I know there's another level to this conversation that we're actually going to have in a few weeks. But Rosita, today I want to say thank you very much for being here with us on TN Talks. And to all the participants, if you would like to connect, send us a message at info@ipsbvi.com. And until next time, thank you for spending your tea time with us.
Thank you.